Joining me today to talk about technology trends in manufacturing is Raj Radhakrishnan, Business Unit Head for Manufacturing and Logistics at Cognizant. Welcome, Raj.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So let's start this way. If you wanted to just pick one single disruptive trend that's impacting this manufacturing space today, what would it be?
In the current world and what we are seeing of late is the Internet of Things, which is the broader term. But if you define closely, it comes back to machine-to-machine, connected products, connected devices. And that's the single most influence that can have in our industry, both in the manufacturing, particularly in the supply chain as well. Everybody talks about manufacturing in a big way, but the impact that it can have on the supply chain and the visibility that it can give, I think that's where the logistics also is bound to benefit out of that whole thing. The side effect of that, which is bound to happen, which we are seeing as a knock-on effect, is all around robotics, the advent of robotics on the shop floor, which is again partly due to the analytics data that can come out of all this that we can glean out of. The more and more the advent that we see this trend permeating across the auto industry in much more detail, but we also see this getting deeper and deeper in the normal manufacturing, in the food processing, in the chemical processing industries as well. So the single most technology that is affecting us today is Internet of Things.
Okay, thanks. We're seeing that as well. So I'm curious though, what does the industrial Internet of Things, what impact does that have on strategies of a service company like Cognizant?
As you see in the industry, we noticed a big difference between how it is viewed, how it is strategized versus how it is implemented. We see the companies wanting to adapt to Internet of Things, trying to evaluate what they want to do. But what we also are noticing is around the fact that the customers or the consumption is driven around mobile devices so that mobility is having a say on how the products are evolving. So the new product development calls for more smarter products, more smarter or more informed products, which is where 3D printing and all those things comes in as well, where we see a trend of informed manufacturing. Whereas in the case of the products usage, it's the mobility. So what we are trying to do is we are building capabilities around connecting the dots, because digital itself is a new theme in the manufacturing industry. Although it's been there for a long time, the retailers and the consumers of that have been using e-commerce. The digitization of all the way from new product invention, supply chain, and to the consumption is a big trend that we are working on. For example, we see government putting money in institutions like DMDI, and a lot of it is going towards aerospace and aero. Why only aero? I mean, if you look at the trend itself, the companies that have mastered the supply chain is all around the electronics manufacturers. Those guys have done it for the last 10 years. They know the supply and demand, they have mastered it. How can we bring it to the discrete and the other manufacturers of the world? And that is where we have built, one of the fundamental problems we noticed was around the lack of visibility across all their plants. There's a lot of, everybody is trying to connect, but it's not connected, even within a plant and across plants. So what we have come up with is things like one plant, which is more to say how a plant needs to be interacted. It's a framework to harmonize all the processes together and get them into a place where they have real-time visibility or near real-time visibility of the plant operation of all the equipments, as well as the supply chain inventory status as well. So we are actually demoing today in our booths today here in the ARC Forum. Glad to be here. And we are demoing that, as well as the consumption, the new user. We are talking about new workforce coming into manufacturing, and how can we do that when we have the age-old lathes and things like that. When we are talking about 1.2 million robots coming. So what we are trying to do is to bring a mobile version of operations, mobile version of not only dashboarding, but also operating the systems as well. So we are trying to enable all of this into the new technology world so that the manufacturers can attract newer, younger working population, as well as gain benefit out of it. We are also trying to partner with some of the academia to build robotics-driven enhancements inside the shop floor. We are working with some packaging companies and players there are discussions in place. So that's the way we are thinking about the whole sector as it is evolving.
Okay, great. So what kind of specific suggestions does Cognizant have for manufacturing customers when it comes to Internet of Things and big data, for example?
A lot of customers, as I indicated earlier, have an ambition to build quite a bit around this. So our recommendation is to start from your plant floor. I think your information technology and operations technology can be integrated quite a bit. There is a lot of synergy that you can gain out of it, but more importantly, your operations technology systems can benefit by using some of the latest that has come up in the mobile world. Every one of your partner is going to digital, and digital is probably a big fad word at this moment. But more than anything, we believe that if we can look at digitizing your floor. By that, I'm not trying to say just go everything into cloud. That's not what we are talking. We are talking about you have already sensors. How can you capture your data and use it to your advantage? Be it predictive maintenance, be it advanced analytics. For example, we came up with an idea for an industrial manufacturer. They do what they call as cartridges. They sell cartridges, right? And those cartridges, we thought we'll embed a sensor into it so that they can emanate signals based on the usage and where it is. So it was a very simple innovation, but their sales started to show up quite a bit. So I guess those are some of the things people think too much about, or they get too worried about the advents that are happening in the field. But it all boils down to start from your shop floor, because it seems to be much more complex than what you think. If you can simplify it and then look through the supply chain, there is a lot of synergy to be gained.
Great. So can you tell me, you have a lot of manufacturing customers, how do they feel about this sort of rapidly evolving technology and move to digital?
They are a bit, they are treading in cautious waters, I would say. Everybody is tipping their toe in it. Has a lot of people moved towards 3D printing. It's all still in their labs, if you will. Everybody wants to try that, but everybody is still a bit averse to going in full flow. I think they are also worried about how their tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers react to the situation. But is there an intent for them to adapt to this? Yes. They see the benefits that the other industries have gained out of this, moving to digital. But harmonizing the data is something that everybody is looking at, because they all believe they have a lot of data. It's all about data security. It's all about ownership. There's a lot of question mark on who owns the data. So I think that's why everybody is still struggling through it. But it's only a matter of time. What we see in major manufacturers clearly is there's a lot of movement towards digital, both from the marketing side of the house, but the IT driving a lot of their functions in the system, in their operation floor, is taking a lot more attention. The analytics side of the house have really shaped up well, because we have seen a carpet manufacturer who has actually used the analytics data and the social data to figure out where exactly their market is shaping up and then price accordingly. So it has come to a point where they can play with the data appropriately, and it's a market. They are working with the dealer. They have to work with the dealer, but still their data is very, very apt, and they are evolving big time with that. I'm not talking about e-commerce here. I'm talking about a manufacturer using the data and the social information that's available. how they can customize and manufacture appropriately.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking some time with us here today. Thanks very much, Raj.
Welcome.
I've been speaking with Raj Radhakrishnan, Cognizant.